All right, let's dive right into something absolutely fascinating today. We're talking alkaline fuel cells.
Yeah, AFCs. And definitely not your LEAs. This is serious clean energy tech.
Exactly. Big potential impact.
Mhm.
Powering industrial sites, maybe even ships down the line. And for this deep dive, we're leaning entirely on a really great article from Cognitive Market Research. It specifically looks at the top manufacturing companies in this space.
A solid source for getting a handle on the key players.
Right. So our mission today, pretty simple, really. We want to unpack what alkaline fuel cells actually are, figure out why they're suddenly such a hot topic, get a sense of the market size, where it is now, where it's headed. Then identify the main companies, see who's nipping at their heels, and kind of break down what it actually takes to win in this market. And just to be clear, we're sticking strictly to what's in this report.
And that's important context because understanding this specific niche, this AFC technology, is really key if you're tracking the whole global shift towards decarbonization. AFCs are an interesting piece of that puzzle. It's a relatively mature technology, pretty cost-effective in the grand scheme of hydrogen energy.
Okay, so getting specific helps see the bigger picture.
Exactly. It sheds light on those broader energy transitions everyone's talking about.
Perfect. So let's start there. What exactly are alkaline fuel cells, the core idea?
Okay, so at their heart, AFCs use an alkaline electrolyte, think of potassium hydroxide, usually to manage the chemical reaction that makes electricity.
An alkaline electrolyte, right.
And what makes them stand out, according to this analysis anyway, is their high efficiency. That's a big one. They also tend to start up quite quickly, and they run at lower temperatures compared to some other fuel cell types out there.
Okay, high efficiency, quick start, run cooler. Sounds like a good combo.
Mm-hmm.
And the source says they run on pure hydrogen and oxygen,
Yeah, ideally pure H2 and O2. And that means the only emission is water vapor, essentially. Zero harmful emissions at the point of use.
which puts them right in the center of decarbonization talk.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned, it's relatively mature tech, been around a while, which helps keep the costs, somewhat contained compared to newer stuff.
Right, not starting completely from scratch. So where are we actually seeing these things used today, based on the report?
Well, the source points to a few key areas. Aerospace and military are big ones.
Ah, the historical link.
Exactly. NASA used them way back on space missions. That really paved the way. But today, they're also pretty significant for stationary power. Think backup power systems or maybe distributed energy for specific sites. And still definitely used in electric propulsion, especially, again, defense and aerospace applications.
That's quite a range. Backup power, military, space heritage. It does speak to the robustness, doesn't it?
It really does.
And is research still pushing them forward? Improving them?
Oh, definitely. The report mentions ongoing R&D to boost performance, make them more durable, and maybe expand into more mobile or portable uses too. What's really helping the market now, the report argues, is the build-out of hydrogen infrastructure globally. Plus, you've got governments, particularly in North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, putting more support behind hydrogen tech in general. That creates a favorable wind.
Okay, infrastructure and policy support. Got it. Let's talk numbers then. Market size, growth. What does the report say?
Cognitive market research gives some pretty clear figures. In 2024, the market value for AFCs was pegged at USD 78,821.9 million.
78,000 million. So 78.8 billion US dollars. That's already huge.
It is substantial, yeah. But the projection is where it gets really interesting. The report forecasts it hitting USD 152,505.5 million by 2032.
Wow, okay, so 152.5 billion. That's nearly double in what, 8 years?
Pretty much. It's significant growth.
What's the CAGR on that, the compound annual growth rate?
The report puts that at 8.60%.
8.6%. Okay, that single number tells you a lot about why this sector is getting so much attention. That's rapid expansion. The market's really taking off.
Definitely hitting its stride, yeah.
So with that kind of growth, how does the report say companies are being, judged or compared? What are the benchmarks?
The report lays out a few key criteria. Primarily, it's about innovation, especially in the actual cell design. Then there's power output scalability. How easily can they make systems bigger or smaller for different needs? Efficiency is crucial too, especially how well they perform under different loads, not just peak conditions. And of course, cost competitiveness, that's always huge.
Right, the fundamentals. But what about the specifics for AFCs? What really separates the winners, according to the source?
Beyond those basics, the report highlights system lifespan, how long do they last? Also, their tolerance to fuel impurities. That's a big practical point. Real-world hydrogen isn't always perfectly pure.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
And then just overall operational flexibility. How adaptable are the systems?
Okay, lifespan, impurity tolerance, flexibility. Makes sense. And are there specific types of AFC systems gaining traction commercially?
Yeah, the report points specifically to modular AFC units. These can be tailored, right, for stationary use like, say, industrial backup power or remote military bases, or they can be configured for mobile stuff like marine propulsion. That modularity is key.
Right, configure it for the job.
Exactly. Also, how well these AFCs integrate with renewable hydrogen production, like using green hydrogen from electrolysis that's becoming a major plus, fits right into the whole sustainability picture.
Integration with green hydrogen and collaborations.
Huge factor. The report emphasizes companies partnering up. Think utilities, transportation firms, research bodies, working together on things like microgrids or hybrid energy solutions.
So it's not just about the tech itself, but how it fits into the bigger system. What about actually making these things? Manufacturing.
Mass production capability is non-negotiable, really,
Yeah.
especially if you want the big contracts. The report stresses being able to reliably crank out durable, lightweight fuel cell stacks that still maintain really high energy conversion efficiency. That's critical for demanding areas like aerospace and defense.
Okay, got to be able to build them reliably and efficiently at scale. And R&D. Where's the research focus for the top players?
According to the source, the leaders are pouring R&D into making the electrodes last longer, optimizing the electrolyte performance, getting more out of it, and critically, finding ways to bring down the overall system costs. Less expensive materials, smarter design.
Makes sense.
And strategically. Strategically, it's about scaling up production, getting those international certifications so they can sell globally, and securing long-term deals for hydrogen supply. You need the fuel, right?
Oh.
Ultimately, the report suggests that things like fuel flexibility, maybe using ammonia besides hydrogen compact designs, and low maintenance requirements are what's helping companies meet this rising demand.
Okay, this is great context. Let's get to the names. Who does the report identify as the top manufacturers, the big players right now?
All right, the report lists the top 5 as AFC Energy PLC, Ballard Power Systems, Plug Power, Ceres Power Holdings, and Hydrogenics.
Okay, let's take them one by one. AFC Energy PLC is first. What's the story there according to the report?
AFC Energy PLC is positioned as a leader, yeah? Holding about 18.4% market share based on this analysis. Their focus is very much on zero-emission power for industry, mobility, off-grid spots. They've got deep roots in alkaline tech. The report describes their systems as modular and scalable, really designed for reliable, clean power within that whole hydrogen economy concept.
Modular and scalable. How are they making that happen? Partnerships.
Definitely. The report mentions partnerships with automotive companies, construction equipment makers, and they really emphasize fuel flexibility systems that can run on hydrogen or ammonia. Geographically, they're pushing into Europe, Asia, the Middle East, expanding their reach.
Gotcha. Next up, Ballard Power Systems. 15.2% share.
Yeah, Ballard. Now, many people know them primarily for PM fuel cells. That's a different tech using a membrane. But this report specifically highlights their important R&D work in alkaline fuel cell stacks. So they're involved here too. They supply systems for heavy-duty transport trucks, trains, ships, and also stationary power. So they're enabling clean transport in a big way.
So even though PEM is maybe their main thing, they're a force in ASC R&D. What gives them their edge here?
The report points to their deep tech know-how and their extensive global partnerships. They work with transit agencies, energy developers, lots of collaboration. And they're actively investing in next-gen alkaline tech, aiming for higher power density, better durability, smoother integration into hybrid systems. They've got strategic investors backing that push.
Okay, Plug Power. That's a name you hear a lot in hydrogen. How do they fit into the AFC picture specifically?
Plug Power has about 12.1% share in this alkaline segment, according to the report. Their position comes from their broader work across the whole hydrogen value chain infrastructure, different fuel cell types. They've brought alkaline tech into their overall strategy of building out a green hydrogen ecosystem. You see their AFC applications showing up in material handling, think forklifts, backup power, and stationary generation.
And what's unique about their approach?
The report really flags their vertically integrated model. They do everything from making the hydrogen, storing it, distributing it, right through to the fuel cell systems themselves. They're building out their own hydrogen network, and they use acquisitions and collaborations to advance their AFC technology specifically.
Interesting. Okay, how about Ceres Power Holdings? 8.8% share.
Ceres Power. The report calls them out as an innovator, not just in alkaline, but also in solid oxide fuel cells, SOFCs, which run much hotter. Apparently, their steel cell platform, that's their proprietary tech, is actually influencing AFC development too. They're known for high efficiency and fuel flexibility.
And their business model is different, you said.
Yeah, a bit. They mainly license their intellectual property, their IP, to big manufacturers, the OEMs, and industrial companies. So others build using Series Tech. They partner with major global players, focusing on cost-effective, scalable, durable systems, especially for decentralized power and cleaning up industrial processes. And they're exploring more AFC integrations.
Licensing model. Interesting. Okay, last of the top five. Hydrogenics, now part of Cummins. 6.8% share.
Right, hydrogenics. The report highlights their expertise in both making hydrogen electrolyzers and the fuel cells themselves. They've been innovating in AFCs for a while, especially for stationary backup power, balancing the grid, and hydrogen mobility projects.
So they offer the whole package.
Pretty much. Their strength is in integrated hydrogen solutions, production, storage, generation, all bundled. Their alkaline systems are described as really suitable for applications needing long run times and high capacity. Think critical infrastructure, remote sites. And now, being part of Cummins gives them the scale to ramp up production significantly.
Okay, so that's the established leadership. But markets are dynamic. Does the report mention who's coming up challenging these guys, the emerging players?
Oh yeah, definitely. The report identifies a specific group of emerging companies that are seen as potential significant competitors. Names like Nedstack Fuel Cell Technology, PowerCell Sweden, AB, Denora ITM Power, and Horizon Fuel Cell Technologies.
Okay, Nedstack, PowerCell, Denora, ITM, Horizon. How are they shaking things up? What's their angle?
They're coming at it with, focused innovation, smart partnerships, strategic expansions, like Nedstack, they're Dutch, right? They're making inroads with industrial-grade systems that can be adapted for alkaline tech. Focus on maritime, heavy transport. Modularity and scalability are key for them, backed by collaborations.
Finding specific niches.
Exactly. PowerCell Sweden, another one known more for PM, is using that expertise to develop complementary AFC systems. They're pushing efficiency and environmental benefits and leveraging big alliances like with Bosch and Hitachi for global reach.
Wow, Bosch and Hitachi, that's serious backing.
It is. Then there's Denora from Italy. They have broad electrochemical tech experience, and they're integrating AFCs into things like water electrolysis, energy storage, really targeting industrial decarbonization.
Leveraging existing strengths.
Right. ITM Power out of the UK, strong in hydrogen energy systems overall. They offer integrated solutions that include AFCs, and they've got good backing from industry and government.
Okay, and Horizon.
Horizon Fuel Cell Technologies, based in Singapore, they've carved out a really interesting niche: compact, lightweight AFCs. Think portable power, smaller mobility applications. They're known for being quick with prototypes, adapting their tech fast for specific, sometimes smaller scale needs.
So it really sounds like these emerging companies aren't just trying to copy the leaders. They're finding specific problems to solve, specific angles.
That's exactly what the report suggests. Their collective impact is reshaping the market dynamics. They're pushing hard on cost reduction, system flexibility, finding diverse applications. It makes them credible challengers and actually helps speed up the adoption of AFC tech overall.
Okay, so if you're not one of these established players, if you're a new company looking at this booming market, how does the report suggest you could actually succeed? Is there a playbook?
Yeah, the report has a whole section on that, how new entrants can excel. It really stresses needing a sharp, targeted strategy. You can't be vague. Focus hard on tech innovation, driving down costs, and making sure what you offer is genuinely relevant to a market need.
Be focused. Makes sense.
And it suggests concentrating on high-efficiency, long-lasting AFC systems, particularly tailor them for those high-demand areas we talked about: stationary power, heavy-duty transport, maritime.
Right. Don't try to boil the ocean initially. Pick your battles. What else?
Absolutely. Embrace modular designs. That gives you the scalability and flexibility for different customers. Cost optimization is flagged as just critical. Find durable but cheaper materials. Reduce reliance on pricey precious metals if you can. Get those production costs down but keep performance up.
The cost challenge again.
Always. And naturally, invest heavily in R&D. You need to constantly improve how long they last, how well they tolerate real-world operating conditions, which can be tough.
We heard about partnerships for the big guys, just as vital for newcomers.
Essential, according to this report. Strategic partnerships are a key way in. New companies should actively look to team up with hydrogen producers, energy integrators, transport providers, build those end-to-end solutions with partners.
Leverage the ecosystem.
Exactly. And maybe focus geographically too. Target emerging economies or specific countries really pushing hydrogen infrastructure. The report mentions Asia Pacific, the Middle East, parts of Europe as potential hotspots.
Find receptive markets.
Yeah, and maybe start with niche applications, backup power for telecom towers maybe, or specific zero-emission vehicles. Establish a foothold, build credibility, then scale.
Smart. And the report mentions sustainability one last time here.
It does. And it's not just, greenwashing. It needs to be core to the strategy. Things like low carbon manufacturing, designing for a circular economy reuse, recycle, that can really boost reputation, attract investors, attract customers. The report basically argues that if new entrants combine all this sharp innovation, smart market focus, cost control partnerships, and real sustainability, they have a genuine shot at challenging the incumbents and thriving.
Wow. Okay, that was a really thorough journey through the alkaline fuel cells market, all drawn from that cognitive market research piece. We went from the basics of the tech, its history, right through the, frankly, startling market growth projections. We look at the key players, their strategies, the companies coming up behind them, and even got a strategic roadmap for new entrants. Really comprehensive.
It really does paint a picture of a market in a genuinely transformative moment, doesn't it? That growth is real, and it's fueled by this massive global push for cleaner energy and serious money going into hydrogen. And the report is clear. Success for anyone in this space depends on adapting quickly, locking in those partnerships, delivering solutions that can scale, and aligning really closely with how hydrogen infrastructure develops.
Yeah, and I think the report also subtly underscores how collaborative this has to be. It's not just one company. It's policymakers, the tech developers, the industry users, all needing to work together to really accelerate AFC adoption.
Absolutely.
So here's something to maybe leave you, our listener, thinking about. We talked about that rapid growth, the 8.6% CAGR, and the intense competition driving companies to target specific uses.
Yeah.
How might some of those specific applications the report mentioned, like powering ships with zero emissions or ensuring backup power for critical telecom networks, how might those actually start changing parts of our energy system faster than we currently think?
That's a great question. And maybe adding one more layer to that. The report makes it clear that the stakeholders, be they companies, investors, governments, who really prioritize deep R&D, who genuinely embed sustainability from start to finish, and who align with those long-term climate goals, they're not just setting themselves up for commercial success. They're the ones who will actually be shaping the future of clean energy.
A powerful final thought indeed. That wraps up this deep dive.